There you go.
Oh, yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, Tara Thomas, Waterloo Schools. Always a pleasure to have this time with the KBBG listening audience. We always have so many things to cover happening in Waterloo Schools, and we're getting close to the end of the school year, and it occurred to me, hey, I have not brought in the folks from East High School. So many of you are familiar with what's going on at East, but we need to go behind the scenes and really dive into some of the depth that exists in that building in terms of the programming, upcoming events, as well as speak to a couple students. It's always great to include the voices of kids on this program. So joining me this morning, we have the principal of East High, Marla Paget, assistant principal is Jared Smith, and two seniors who are getting ready to brave a brand new world when they graduate. Ettore Green, did I say that right? Greer, gosh, I've got that in my head. Okay, Ettore, am I saying Ettore right though?
Ettore.
Ettore Greer, and another senior, the lovely Talia Frazier. So thank you so much to all of you for joining us. So let's start with you, Ms. Paget. Talk about what it's like to be the chief administrator at East High.
It's a wonderful experience. East High is like home for me because I'm an East High grad. I graduated from East High, and then after I graduated from college, I went back and taught at East High before I went over to Central Middle School to be the principal, and now I've returned to be the principal at East High, so it's a big homecoming for me.
So how long have you been the principal?
This is my second year as the principal at East.
And prior to, you were teaching where and what did you teach?
I taught social studies at East High, and then I went to Central Middle School to be their assistant principal, athletic director, and then I became their principal. And then I was asked to come to East High to be their current principal.
How does it feel to now walk the halls as an administrator where you were once a student?
It's very strange because parts of the building were very different. Even from when I taught there, they built on the whole new part, including the office area. That didn't exist when I was a student or when I taught at East High. And then there's places that are exactly the same. I know where my locker's at. I tried to open it, it wasn't the same combination, or I forgot the combination, but I remember my locker up in the band room area.
Oh, that's great. And you've been with Jared Smith as your assistant then for these past 2 years as well, or when did he come on board?
He came to East High the same year I did as my assistant principal. He's been a very welcome addition.
What's your background, Mr. Smith?
Well, it's kind of, just like Marla said, homecoming, coming back to East, it's a homecoming for me too, coming back to Waterloo. I graduated actually from West in 2000 and attended UNI and got a teaching degree there, and then actually taught high school math in Florida for 3 years, kind of had to get away for a little bit. And then a year in Chicago Public Schools, the middle schools there, and then was an assistant principal for 4 years in Fort Dodge at the middle schools out there. But I was very happy to get back to Waterloo, kind of back to my roots as well, and really work on some of the school spirit, the pride thing, that sort of thing for East High. It's really been a fun couple of years.
And how many students currently, Marla, are in East High? What's the numbers that we know? I know you can't give me a dead-on figure maybe, but
we have over 1,000 students.
Over 1,000, wow. So it is like a community in that sense.
It is a community.
And how many floors?
Well, it depends on where you start counting from. the very subterranean down in the bunkers down there from the old days, clear up to our top floor, which used to be our lunchroom, which has now been completely remodeled, and it's where our ETM Academy is held.
Okay, tell us about that.
ETM is one of 4 academies we have at East High. We have the ETM, ACB, HHS, and our PBDA Academy. So students choose their coursework based on career interest, and then they would go into one of those academies based on those ideas of what they want to do for the future.
Okay, let's bring the student of East High, the student voices in here. So first off, just tell me, Talia, what is it about East High that you are going to walk away with when you graduate? What are going to be some of your memories? And move your mouth close to that microphone so we can hear you.
A few of them is like, I'm really big in the music department, so I've got to be in the choruses, the different choirs that we had. That was really fun. All-state choir that we always do every year is really fun. And swing show, that's our talent show that we have yearly. And a lot of people come out to support us from different cities, different schools. They all come together and we all watch that. That's one of my favorites.
And were you born and raised in Waterloo?
Yes.
Tell us about elementary, middle. Where did you go to school?
I went to Lincoln Elementary, and then in middle school I went to Bunger for 6th and 7th, and then I came to Carver in 8th.
Okay, and then you've been at East all 4 years?
Yep.
So looking back over your elementary and middle school and now high school years, are there teachers along the way that made an impression on you that you'll remember years from now? Does anyone
Yes.
come to mind? Tell me about one of those teachers.
Her name is Mrs. Coleman, Charlotte Coleman. I've known her from elementary until high school. I felt like she followed me through all my years, but I'm really happy that she did. She's always giving me that extra push.
And she's at Carver?
Yeah. No, she's at Expo right now.
No, at Expo, okay. And what was it about her that connected so well with you that you'll remember her in the future?
She's always had her way with kids. Like, if anything was troubling me, she'd always be there. Work and everything. Like, I never had to worry about not getting my work in because she made sure I always had it in. She just always been there every step of the way.
I love it. So you knew that she cared and she stayed on you to make sure you saw things through.
Yes, even though, like, sometimes she would pop into school just to see what I'm doing. So.
That's great. And then talk about your activities. You said you're involved in vocal music.
Oh yeah, ever since 9th grade at East High, I've been in a lot of choirs. Gospel choir, that's an extracurricular choir that we had. I've been in treble clef. I'm in concert choir now. I was going to do solo ensemble, but I got a little lazy with that. But
Well, you seem to have a great voice just from speaking, so is there anything you can sing for us? I know it's really putting you on the spot a cappella, but I just thought, hey, if you have these vocal talents and we're on the radio, can you sing us a bar, something?
She did the national
I do
anthem
the
for
national
us.
Oh yeah, do a little bit of that for us.
oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held?
I love that. That was beautiful. You just heard the incredible voice of Talia Frazier. She is a senior at East High. We have 2 administrators from East and 2 students joining us this half hour. Let's move to the gentleman here, our senior, Ettore Greer. Talk about your experience in Waterloo schools and what's been great about your time at East.
I just like the whole layout of how East has been there for us, and my main thing that I like was showing my pride, being there for all the games, making shirts for everybody. That was one of the big things that I like, making shirts. Just being out there with my friends, cheering on for anything that we did. We was always there to support, trying to just, make something out of nothing, just having a good time. All the events that we do, we go all out. We like to have fun, but we also like to be serious when it comes to it. So just the whole school, I'm gonna miss it,
Absolutely. So what about activities or sports? What have you been involved with at East? It sounds like you're a big student booster in the sense that you support the teams.
Yeah.
So talk about that.
I was the head of the East High student section for football season, and then after that was done, I was kind of heartbroken. But then I had to move on to tourist basketball, and then I became the captain on the East High Trojans basketball for the boys. And then right now we just kind of cooling it. We're gonna make some shirts for the upcoming seniors that's leaving, like 2014 shirt that I have an exclusive that I haven't came out with, told everybody yet, but it's coming out.
I love it. So you really enjoy getting into that whole planning process and designing shirts and getting the other students to have the same pride that you have at East.
Yeah, I want to leave the school knowing that somebody's going to be there to take my spot and really show the pride and get everybody involved, because it's really fun being out there in the cold, cheering on your friends and all, and then we see them on Monday and say, man, good game. We was all out there cheering for you. Just good game.
I love that. And then people cheered for you because you were on the basketball team.
Yeah, it was one of our big games was the East and West game. It's like whole city came out. We made shirts for them, and it was just a good thing to see East and West having the same cause to come out for. We showed our support towards Caitlin Kenneth. She was battling breast cancer.
That's right. For those of you who know Tammy Kenneth, she's an expo teacher, and then it's her daughter who was an East athlete, has done well, gone on to UNI now, and has been battling cancer, and a lot of the East students and staff really have been behind her fight, and I know that she and her mom have expressed how much that has meant to them to have your support. And what's unique about you being a student athlete, you also are a booster for the other athletes out of your season, right? I mean, which is cool, because sometimes people are like, not maybe returning the favor, giving the love back to the other players. So why is it that you are somebody who wants to show that support to other athletes outside of your own season?
I wanted to show the support, saying that wherever you do, we're here for you. You go out there and try your best, we're here for you. We're going to raise money to show our support. I actually made an account so we can save some money and then it could go back into showing our support in the student section.
I love
So
that.
we're going to get flags. Hopefully we get a t-shirt gun within the upcoming years.
Oh, that's awesome.
I plan on
How'd you
getting
order
that
this?
before.
Safety first.
Yeah.
Mr. Greer.
We're going to have a teacher operate that, but we plan on doing a lot for the upcoming years. Even though I will be gone, I will be popping in and out, making sure everything's going smoothly.
I love that. I love your commitment beyond your senior year. So is there a favorite cheer or chant or something that comes to mind that you used to initiate in the crowd or get people pumped up with when you were on the sidelines? Is there anything that comes to mind?
I would say the spirit. Let me hear your Trojan spirit one would be one of my favorite, but normally we just scream at the
Like,
top
how
of
does it go? Give me a line.
It goes,
Marching to the beat.
it's actually called Marching to the Beat. It says, let me hear your Trojan spirit. What's that you say? Let me hear your Trojan spirit. What's that?
Oh, sure. Okay, I know, I'm following you. Yeah, I was in high school, so we had cheers like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So for you then, this pride, the involvement in your school, it sounds like this is something you're gonna take away beyond your senior year.
Yeah, all my sisters graduated from there, and ever since they was in high school, I felt like I was in high school too, because I'll be up here all the time, just showing my spirit for them, and then it just was easy to translate towards everybody else.
And one last thing before we'll come back to you, but I want to talk to the administrators some more, but just tell me, what advice would you give to the younger kids? Why should you stay involved in school and not just show up and, go home, but not, why should you make those connections like you two have to actually be a part of what's going on in the building beyond just showing up?
I believe that you should show your spirit because it'll make it funner for you and for your time that you'll be there at East High. So if you show up, show your spirit, you're going to have a fun time. We like to have fun. It's just a wonderful time. Just being in that atmosphere of, yeah, let's do it, come on.
I love
The
that.
energy,
Yeah, it's
atmosphere.
the positive energy, absolutely.
Yeah.
So for you, Talia, what advice do you have? Because I know there are a lot of young people who, maybe they're thinking, oh, I'm intimidated about moving on to high school, and a lot of times in the news, you only hear negative stories coming out of the high schools, but we know from our work in the district and talking to you two, all the positives far outweigh the negatives. So just what advice do you give to those kids coming up?
I'd say freshman year, go out for everything. That's what I did. I did everything. Sports, extracurricular activities. That's really how you make your new friends. Just get out there. You're going to have a big regret on you. If you go through all your years and then you look back at high school dang, I wish I would have did this, I wish I would have did that. But the best thing to do, freshman year, still focus on your work. But you got to just go out there and do everything. Just do everything.
I love that. If you're just joining us, this is Tara Thomas, the Director of School and Community Relations for Waterloo Schools. We always have the pleasure of spending a couple half hours a month live for the KBBG listening audience, and today it's all things East High. We're talking about everything going on at the high school that so many of you are familiar with. We have two administrators, Principal Marla Padgett, this is her second year at East, and then we've got Jared Smith, who's a 2-year assistant principal. Both have roots here. Marla graduated from East and now heads up the administration in the building. So many events are constantly in the planning stages and coming around the corner for you. How do you, as an administrator, keep it all straight, Marla? How do you lead the ship, so to speak, when you have things that crop up unexpected, and then at the same time, we know graduation is coming. We know you have all these sports and extracurricular activities to oversee. So talk about how you make everything come together.
You work a lot of hours, you really do, but it's all worth it because of what you hear coming from our students, because we want them to have the connections to our community, to our school, and have them go forward in a positive manner. But you also keep a very big calendar, and sometimes you're double booked. You depend on your assistants to help you through it all, and honestly, getting kids on board that have the kind of pride and spirit in East High to help make the events possible.
And Jared Smith, you've been at East for 2 years, but you said in your background you've been in Florida,
Yep.
in the Chicago
Yep.
school system, and then at Fort Dodge. When you think about those different environments you've worked in, what was it like coming to East and drawing from those previous experiences? Because of course there are the stereotypes about coming to what is more of an urban setting, but yet you were in, you know, Chicago, you were down south, so kind of give us that contrast.
I think just being in those different places, I was in the Sarasota area, where actually our superintendent was from. I was down in the same area he was, Dr. Norris. But that was a very, very diverse population down there, so I kind of got that perspective as a teacher for working with diverse populations, so I had that background as a teacher now, and also in Chicago as a teacher, having that background working with students with diverse backgrounds, and now as an administrator, I have that perspective from those experiences and know how to deal with when certain situations arise, and can think back, hey, how did I handle this in the classroom? What could I have done better? And giving that advice to our teachers when situations arise. So that's been very valuable for me to pass on those things. Not many people have those different experiences in different settings.
Sure.
Passing that on. But one thing I've been real impressed with, being in the two different school systems there and also Fort Dodge, is we do, like Ettore was talking about, some outstanding student leaders that have really helped us out. You asked Marla, asked Ms. Padgett, I should say, how do you keep all these things straight? How do you schedule all these things? How do you make it all work? We're really trying to rely on our students to lead some of these things. They know more than us about certain things, about technology, about spreading word, communicating, using Facebook, using Twitter, to kind of communicate what might be coming up on the weekends, or about prom, or about our academic awards night that's coming up. So we're really trying to put a lot of that in their hands to let them do a lot of the legwork for us. Not only is it a good experience for them, it's just something that unites them with the school, really draws them in. So we're starting to learn more and more to put our students, as much as we can, in charge of some of these things, and letting them take the lead, and we're kind of just more facilitators and supervisors.
I love that, and it's true. Just in this past school year, when I've been a part of the district, I've been to East many times, worked with many of the students, and it is amazing how empowered many of those young people are to take ownership in the activities and the process. And that's part of what Mr. Smith is talking about, where the administrators, you know, trust these kids and know that they are very capable as leaders and will be future leaders in the community and beyond. So it's great that there are so many events that the community can really come and be a part of and support, that are showcasing the dynamic students and all the activities going on behind the scenes at East that many of you might not be aware of. Coming up, we've got Academic Awards Night. That's April 21st. 460 students will be recognized. So when you talk about a school building of about 1,000 kids, you're looking at 50% nearly of those students being honored and recognized for their achievements in the classroom. Prom is happening Saturday, May 3rd. That's at the Sky Event Center in downtown Waterloo. Gatsby Nights is the theme. That's awesome, because you know that Great Gatsby novel, if you've ever read that. I'm
Yeah.
going to see some top hats and tails. Is that right?
Yeah.
I love that. So how do you guys come up with that theme, and are you a part of any of the planning for these activities? You've also already got, you guys will be coming back as guests, but it sounds like Homecoming 2014 is already in the works for the week of September 8th, and that will be a game against Dubuque Hempstead that will bring a lot of people out. So why should kids and their parents come out and support these events? Either one of you, students?
Well, for one, it's because like half the students, like half the parents that come, their students are playing. So I do feel like your parents should come out and support your child. And it's just like, with the more people we have supporting, it's just I feel like the better we do. No, you know what I mean? Like if you don't have a big crowd at a game, it just feel like, oh, what's the point of playing? No one wants to see us. But it just feels so much better, like when you have your whole family there, friends, family, and all that stuff just coming out to support. So.
And how does that feel to you when you're playing basketball, to look out and see those fans and see that crowd support? How does that impact you psychologically?
From a player's view, I believe that it impacts very well. Seeing that you have the whole community come out for you to see you do well, that gives you an extra boost to give it your all and go out here and take this win
I love that.
and just have fun while you're doing it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, let's talk about parent involvement, Ms. Paget. What about all the community opportunities that maybe people don't even know about? I mean, there's the Booster Club, there's the parent and community and business leadership component now that maybe you could kind of shed some light on. Explain how people are getting involved beyond just coming to a game.
Well, our Booster Club is growing in numbers, and a lot of that I have to credit Mr. Smith with, because he has worked very hard to get more of our parents involved in our school and our activities. That's one of the things he's been charged with. And I will turn it over to him because he has split it into two different groups. One that's a booster club that helps us get ready for things like prom, and the other makes some business connections. And Mr. Smith, I'll go ahead and turn that over to you.
Yeah, so we have the Big E Booster Club, which really works on fundraisers that impact students and staff, but like kind of little things throughout the year that always our staff and our students appreciate. Like a breakfast here or a special appreciation luncheon there. I mean, just things throughout the year. One thing the Booster Club is really working on right now is post-prom, which is did you guys go last year?
Yeah, it was really
Okay.
fun.
We enjoyed our time.
The kids love it. They really look forward to it. Last year was my first year. It's out at the UNI Recreation Center. And I wasn't sure, man, it's midnight to 4 a.m. Like, are the kids really, are a lot of kids going to show up? I think every single one of our juniors and seniors.
Everybody that went
everybody.
to prom went out to the red.
It was so much fun.
And that really, the praise goes back to the Booster Club, because they're the ones who have the vision that fundraise all year for it. It's not, to run out the rec center for 4 hours for 500 kids is not cheap. So that's one of the main things that they work on. Now, while the Booster Club's been going on this year, I had a smaller group of parents that were like, hey, we want to see how we can really help have the business and community really help with more of the career connections, and how can the local businesses be connected to the school more. So we've had a group of the Booster Club parents that have kind of broken off and doing their own, they're really trying to get community and business involvement within the school. So we've had about 4 or 5 meetings, and now we're starting to really focusing on what our vision is for the future. And it's really talking to the academies, with the current academy structure we have right now, and how can we find businesses in the area that can bring their resources, not just money, but their people resources into the building, and help do cool activities that the kids would find engaging, and get them excited about doing certain careers down the road. So John Deere has been a part of our meetings, and we're focusing in how can we do actual internships or job shadowing opportunities with them. And we just last week, for next year, we've got some, we decided that we're going to do some real cool 2 students to 1 worker at John Deere internship type things for next year. So Tori, you're a little too late on that for this year, but for the kids for next year that really enjoy engineering, we've got that lined up through next year because of that business leadership group that's been meeting.
That's awesome. And what I love about hearing all of these options for you listeners, if you have a connection to East, or if you're just a supporter in the community who wants to make a difference, we're hearing today from these East High seniors that just seeing your face in the crowd or having your body be at an event, which obviously sometimes, the weather permitting, there may not be a lot going on in Waterloo on a weekend, so it's nice that the East and West High and the other schools in our district are supplying opportunities for you to come out and see what the students are doing and really realizing their talents on the athletic floors as well as on the stage for their vocal talents. It's great that the community supports that. Beyond that, though, we know you can get plugged in other ways, and that's where if you are a grandparent or a parent of a student at East High or a future East High student and you'd like to get involved, don't hesitate to call the office and they can connect you with Ms. Paget or Mr. Smith and make sure that you're getting that energy and time and talent, plugged into a void that can be filled with your support of East High. And why is parent involvement so key, Marla? What do you see in those students who have their parents and grandparents being a part of and engaging in their academic experience in your building?
East High has such a long tradition in our community, so we have good support from grandparents, great-grandparents, parents, and it just shows further support of the school that education is absolutely imperative to the future. And the kids who are plugged in that way, they come with that value system which helps them all the way through whatever career they decide or college opportunities and how they explore the future and their future success.
And why do you see that sometimes the high school level, I mean, we know from research that sometimes the involvement of the parents drops off a little bit because the kids are older, they're more independent, you know, coming up through elementary and middle school. How do you guys sort of help to bridge that gap and keep the two-way communication going? Because we all know that as the kids get older, I mean, you know, you don't have to hover over them like we do in their younger years.
We have various opportunities for parents to be involved, and it doesn't always have to be time spent in the building, but because of what the systems we have in place in the Waterloo schools, Infinite Campus, they can go on every day and see exactly, did my child turn in their homework, didn't they, where are they at, what's their progress. We have several opportunities for them to come to different events that may interest them. It's not just the athletics, but we have our theater group, we have various different musical events, several opportunities for them to be involved, along with our boosters or our business community group. And there's even opportunities to come into the school and help out however they may want to. But it's not always about time spent in building, but how they support their child through their career, checking on them, making sure they're doing well, you know, calling the school if they need to, responding to us if we need to get involved with them. But the parental support is a fabulous thing for us and for the kids.
Absolutely, well said. And we're here almost out of time, but we want to make sure that we hear about where these soon-to-be East High graduates are going next. What comes next after you get that diploma and carry that Trojan pride across the stage at Tor?
I plan on transferring over to UNI and continuing my journey as becoming a young man.
Any idea what you want to major in, or what study area interests you at this point? And you know, you're young, so you might change that along the way, but I have to put you on the spot and ask you what you want to major in.
I'm most certain that I will stick with my two majors. I plan on doubling major in engineering, mechanical, and chemical, and then the other major will be construction. So
I love that.
I plan on continuing my father's legacy and doing a lot more construction.
I think you could be probably a good cheerleader for some of the other engineers who might not have that outgoing personality.
I don't think so about that one.
I love that. I love it. You can spur them on in your engineering club.
Yeah.
All right. What about you, Talia? Talk about with that voice. I know you're going to keep singing somewhere.
Yeah. Well, for now, I'm going to transfer to Kirkwood, where I'll get my gen eds out the way and my liberal arts and biology. Then I'll transfer to the University of Iowa, where I'll study medicine and be a forensic pathologist. But on the side, I do want to do music. I study music. I'll probably be in a few choirs, but medical school is the top.
Well, we know you said that even though you guys are going on to other opportunities, that you'll stick close and come back and visit East High and come back to the community for some events. So we love that you'll be role models. You are role models, but will continue to be for the students coming up, and we hope that you'll come back and be that voice to encourage them to continue focusing on their studies, having fun too, but seeing it through to that diploma so they can go on to post-high school opportunities. So we thank you for sharing all your insight today. And we also want to talk really quickly about International Baccalaureate. Waterloo Schools starting this fall will be only the second state opportunity for IB in Iowa. There's one school in Des Moines offering it, but we are going to offer it district-wide. It is a very rigorous program that has international acclaim. It took about 5 years to get the certification, and East and West will have their first classes out of the gate for IB in the fall. That's going to involve a lot of really stringent and tough academic coursework for those students, but how cool that these kids now will have an opportunity to get entree into some of the top tier colleges across the country that, you know, they may not have otherwise had as much of an opportunity to pursue were it not for this unique program that we will exclusively offer now in Eastern Iowa through Waterloo Schools. So we're excited about that. How much has gone into that planning for you guys as administrators? I know it's going to be, you know, it was a big thing to take on. I mean, to make it 5 years to come to fruition.
There was a tremendous amount of planning, including training. We had to train people out of state at times as well. So we had to get teachers trained, counselors trained, administrators trained. We had to go through a very rigorous looking
And I'm
at
getting
what
the
we do
cue
in
that we're out of
school.
time, I'm sorry to cut you off. Here I'm asking Marla to talk so much, and she's short and sweet, and now I'm cutting her off. But we thank you so much to East High, to Miss Paget, Mr. Smith, and to our great accomplished seniors. Continue to do more things and spread the love about Waterloo schools. Have a great day.
You too.